Hi crafty friends, it's Audra Monk, the Crafty Yogi, and welcome to the Crafty Corner. So, it's all about the DSP part 2. That is the plan. Check in just a couple things to make sure, hopefully, we are good to go tonight. Let's make sure this is working. And it is. Okay, that'll work. The light is a little... I'm not 100% sure, but I think we'll be okay. All right, so welcome. So tonight, this is part 2 of All About the DSP, and I just thought it was fun to share my love of our designer series paper and lots of fun ways to use it. So I'm going to show you 2 cards, and we're going to make 2 cards. A cool thing, hi Emily, is... Our designer series paper is super cool. But look at the cover of our catalog. We're using tonight this paper, which is called, I think, Come Sail Away. And it coordinates with the Sailing Home stamp set. But there's lots of cool ways they use designer series paper here. You can layer it, you can make things with it. So I'm just going to share some other of my favorite ways to use designer series paper. So... one tip I highly recommend, and I've posted this on Facebook before, is that you find a good way to store your paper. You can use, when you get the paper, it does come in a little, I don't know, whatever you call this, little plastic bag, and it comes with a little piece of chipboard. You could use it there and leave it in there and put your extra bits in there, but I've been buying these little file folders. Look for 12 by 12, I think they're Cropper Hopper, I don't know, do 12 by 12 file folders, and you can find them on Amazon. And if you can't, let me know, because I'll look it up in my previous orders. But it's nice because you can put a couple packs in here. Always save your white piece, because then it has the name and it tells you what colors coordinate with it. So that is always a good thing to know. So those are the colors I'll be creating with. Balmy Blue, Basic Black, Mossy Meadow, Night of Navy, Soft Suede, Whisper White. Yep, I'm creating with all those colors. So that's a good thing to do. And then save your chipboard. You never know. There's lots of projects you can use that for. Okay, so... in the effort to keep these videos relatively short, so I don't keep you too long, we're going to get started. And I do like to name things. So let's see, we're not going to make one of these. I call this DSP an open space. So this is a card where there's designer series paper and part of it, and then I leave open space in the other, and then you just layer up some fun elements on there. I thought this was really cute. I used this new, it's a new embossing folder where it has like waves, and I think that's really cool. So anyway, that is one way, what did I call that? Open space. And then one of my most favorite ways to make designer series paper cards, or you can do this, you could stamp and then cut it apart. And I just call this like a panel card. So you can do any kind of panels. And so I'm going to do one similar but different. And on this, look, I even used designer series paper at the back, so that is even fun to have 2 different ones. Yeah, and you can stamp your card and make it really pretty. So we're going to make something similar, but with a very different feel. You'll be surprised how different you can make it. So in the designer series pack, there is, this stripe is really nice, but there was this cool piece. So I thought it'd be really nice for a sympathy card for that. It's just kind of classic and neat. So I'm going to show you one of the ways, and I do it different ways every time. And sometimes you get easy math, and sometimes you get hard math, and I'm not the greatest at math, so sometimes you get a little creative, which is what I'm going to do. So we're going to look at this piece of paper. Okay, so what happened was, I want to put on my card front this piece that is 4 1/4 by 3 1/4. It is. Okay. 4 1/4 by 3 1/4. So then I had to think about, well, how do I put this piece on where I can have those spaces? Because that's what makes a panel card cool, is the little bit of negative space in between the panels of your DSP. So I thought, well, you need 1/8 of an inch on each side, so that's 1/4. And then I figured you needed, you know, a few spaces in there. So I took off, I think I took off another 1/4. So we'll see what happens. So sometimes what this means, all right, is that you get an interesting size. And a lot of it is trial and error. Okay, so this is actually pretty standard, 3 3/4. But if you take your calculator and divide that, I think I'm going to do 4 panels on this one. If you divide it by 4, it's not an easy number. I forget what it was. I don't know. It was 1.18 or something. I don't know what that means in fractions. So this is my workaround for those of you that are like me, that like we can get the math done, but you know, sometimes it's not worth too much hassle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut 1 inch off each side, because you're going to see that it doesn't matter hugely, and I'm going to lay these because I do want these in order, hugely if your panels are exactly the same. And you could really play with this. You could do ones that were definitely thinner and ones that were definitely wider, or you could do what I'm going to do, which is where it's kind of in between. So I cut 1 inch off each side, and I am left with 1 3/4. So half of 1 3/4 is what? 3/4 and 3/4, and you have like a quarter. So we're going to do that 1/8. And we're going to hope that this works. And if it doesn't, it's okay. But I think it's going to work. It totally works. All right. And then I'm going to put that there. Okay, so move your cutter out of the way. So this is a fun way that you can do it. And let's see if I line this back up correctly. Actually, I think I have my paper the other way. Yeah, there we go. And there we go. So we're going to attach that. And I'm going to give you some tips on how to attach. So a lot of times you go from the center and go out, but when you have panels, I find do the edges and then make up the evenness in the middle. So we are just going to do one edge and flip it over. Is my snail not going to work tonight? That would be crazy. It's not going to work tonight. That is super funny. Okay, let me grab another one. This is why you do live TV. Here. Can I reach one? You know, every once in a while, something goes a little awry. And I've had a couple of snails that I've had some issues with. That one was working, so I think I may have just got it caught. So we'll see. But if you have a problem, we can call Stampin' Up, and they will fix it. So that is a cool thing. All right, so I'm going to put like an 1/8 inch border all around here. So I'm using the edge to line it up. And then I'm going to do the other side. Okay. Same thing. I'm going to put it right to the edge. Try to get it even. Know that it's okay if it doesn't come out perfectly even. All right, and then I'm going to look at these and see what kind of spacing do I have. Ooh, okay, so I get wide spacing. I like it. Okay, so then I leave one down so I know where that spacing is, and I put snail on the other one. And I put it in there as straight as I can. And see, apparently I can't talk and put the piece of paper on at the same time. So you get a nice long pause while I attempt to do that. Okay, and here is the second one. Okay, so I wanted to use this paper, and this is what I came up with. So I went with basic black, and then I took smoky slate, and this is the standard 5 1/4 by 4, and then I'm going to mount this, I think I like it that way, on there. But I want to put it on dimensionals. But what I was thinking would be really cool, because I'm going to do this as a sympathy card. Let me show you this cool stamp set we're going to use. It's called Woven Heirlooms, and this I thought was just, this thinking of it was really nice. And so you could leave it and not make it a sympathy card, but I'm going to go ahead and put the inside sentiment too. There's also, it's a very interesting combo. So, wishing you a day of love and joy. So, well, you know what? You could send both of those on a sympathy card, I think. But, you know, usually this is a little more happy sentiment. But we got I love you, thank you so much. So there's a little variety and there's some neat little things. So we're just going to use the thinking of you. And I am going to, and so this white looks kind of bold at first, but wait till you see. Once we add the sentiment, it's totally different. I'm just going to use Memento. Okay. And I am going to stamp that Do I want, no, I'm going to do a little bit to the side. And put that thinking in, because look at that font. Isn't that beautiful? I think that is so pretty. It looks like I wrote it. Well, I wish I could write it like that. It looks like my grandma wrote it. Okay, so then I'm going to put this on here, because then I want to raise the whole thing up. But I need to know the spacing. So I'm going to put it on my card, because I cut that the same size, 4 inches. And this is a standard scrap from cutting something. That is a 1 inch. Okay. So you could cut 1 inch strips, or I have a lot of these in my bin. And so you can just, you know, pull them out of your scrap bin and use them and cut them down. All right, so I'm going to put that on there. Okay, and then we'll dimensional, which I don't think I got dimensionals out. You always think you're so prepared, and then you get going and you realize you're not. But they're right here. Okay, so dimensionals. And I'm going to dimensional this, and I'm going to go ahead and put a dimensional on the little bits too that are hanging off. I can use this piece, because I do think it's nice to have a little bit of, you know, raisedness. Okay. We'll even put, all right, so I'm like a super dimensional on this one. Okay, and then take all your bits off. Hi, Pat. Welcome. Welcome to the Crafty Corner. All right, so we're going to get this on, and then I will show you how pretty this designer series paper looks when you have it in panels. Okay, so, yeah. All right, so I've decided this is going to be a 3-part series. So next Sunday, no, not next Sunday. Oh, we're going to miss a week. I am going to go on vacation, I think. So I'll have to know. It might be 2 weeks, and then we'll get it. Oh, look at that. That is darling. Okay, and then the next thing I'm going to tell you, this is one of our 3D emboss things. You can use snail. I'm not going to say you can't, but I feel that the snail sometimes has issues getting into those things, and I would not want to send a sympathy card to someone and have it fall apart. So I 100% believe in our Tombow multi-purpose liquid glue when it is needed, and it will go into the crevices, and I think it will hold your card on forever. So give it some glue. You don't have to over glue, but give it a little glue. Oops. Okay, did I wreck everything? And let's put it on. And let's put it on the right way. So this is a pretty simple card, and you could totally 100% make this card and just cut the DSP. We may have done ones like this last week where we just cut the DSP to fit the cardstock, and that was fine, and it was beautiful, and it totally worked. But this is a fun way to just change it up a little bit, make it a little bit different. So let's take a look. Isn't that cool? So just panels of designer series paper. And sometimes, like I used a more contrasting color here. Here it's more similar using the Sahara sand. Either one works. You can play with it. You can play with the sizes. You can play with how many. And you're just playing with the space and the negative space. Okay, so that's a panel card. And now let's do my last one. So this will be nice and short. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so last is strips. So a cool thing that you can do, and this comes in especially helpful. Oh, hold on. I am rushing myself. Let's finish this card. I think we should finish it. Let's put a, because I wanted you to see what this sentiment looks like stamped, because it is really, really pretty. This script writing stamp set, woven heirlooms. All right, so get your card straight and just kind of put that in the middle. I always go middle and a little bit high. Isn't that pretty? That is super pretty. So we're going to put that inside. So this will be a sympathy card. And it's always, I mean, it's never a fun thing to have, but it's always good to have a couple sympathy cards on hand, because they're ones that, you know, sometimes it's kind of hard to make in a hurry, you know, to figure out what you want. So it's always good to, like, you're having a day where you got time, you know, you have a nice card that would work for. Okay. So there we go. All right, now let's move on. Okay, so my last one I wanted to share with you is I call this like a DSP strip card. So some of our DSPs, most of it's 12 by 12. That's my favorite. I think it's the easiest to work with. It gives you a lot of options. But we do sell some that are 6 by 6. Not this because I'm using the same pack. But sometimes it's like, how do I use that to my best? For the average crafter, you know what? You can cut it 4 by 5 1/4 and put it on the front. You can really play with that. But when you have a class and you need to cut that for a lot of people, it doesn't really work out. Or just sometimes you want a different way to look. And so one of my favorite things to do is to just do a strip of DSP. And I actually saw on the cover, like this is similar. They did designer series paper at the back, but then look at that strip and then they put a bunch of cool stuff on it. That's a lot of die cutting to get all that stuff out. So that is a fun way to do it. So here's a simple way. This piece of paper, and I will do a blog post tomorrow night, like last time, and so it'll probably go up Monday night or Tuesday night, depending. This is 2 1/4 by 5 1/4, and the cardstock is 2 3/8 by 5 3/8. Yeah. So we're just going to mount this on here. I'm going to pick the stripies because that's the way I cut it, but you totally can do this as a, look, it can be a horizontal card or it can be a vertical card, which is what we're going to make. So that is always good to know because sometimes you have not whole pieces left over. So this is a good thing to do. So mount this. Oops, I see a little extra adhesive up there. All right, so I did the small border. You could do the wide border of the 1/4 inch, or you could do the 1/8 inch. I like the 1/8 inch a lot, but I will say sometimes it is very hard to get it on there straight. Okay, you could emboss this paper like I did in the last card, but on this one I'm just keeping it super simple. So, and what I did is this is cut the same length as my card front, because that's a nice look. Sometimes you want the edge all the way even around, and sometimes you don't. And we're just going to put this in the center-ish. Okay, you know, I got to be quiet when I'm sticking things down. I'm not going to win an award, but it's okay. And then we're going to mount this. Can I safely mount? Yeah, there's no ribbon. Can't be breaking my rules like I did last time, right? You got to make sure if you have ribbon, does it need to be attached first? Okay, a little piece in the middle. And then I'm going to mount this on my card front, you know, and you could add more layers if you wanted. It could have been a different DSP at the back. There's lots and lots of things you can do. And then we're going to stamp a circle. I have a bonus circle in case I mess up. So we are going to use the stamp set Sailing Home, which coordinates perfectly with the whole nautical theme. Although this stripe, you could do anything you want with it. But I'm going to go ahead and use the anchor and this greeting here. So we'll use some soft suede. Let's stamp off, see I already did it once earlier, I was practicing. Let's stamp off the anchor, and then I'm going to stamp it kind of low. There we go. All right, and then can I close? You know, I'm going to leave that open because we're going to stamp it on the inside too. All right, and then, there we go. Let's do some Night of Navy, and here is the set sail in the direction of your dreams. I think the anchor should be angled. So I'm going to put this here. Ooh, that came out nicely. Okay, and then, and I'm going to use that again too. So I got lucky, got it on the first try. That's always nice. So we're going to mount this. So this is the largest stitch shape circle. You could just do a plain circle, but I love the stitch shaped circles. And this is the scalloped, the layering circles. And then look, there we go. And we don't even need any, you know what, but we'll dimensional it. We don't even need any embellishments, any ribbons, unless you want them. But sometimes it's nice to make a really simple card. So this is a great card design you could make for anything. Men, women, kids, boys, girls, grandmas and grandpas. You just change up your stamps, change up your paper. What do you think? You could do it high. You could do it in the middle. You could do it low. I'm kind of feeling low today, but you could do it any way you want. How pretty is that? Easy peasy. All right, and then we're going to stamp almost like the same on the inside. So, some soft suede, stamp my anchor off. I'm going to put it, yeah, I'm going to put it at the bottom. I like that. Okay, and then I got a happy birthday here somewhere. This happy birthday will work. And we'll stamp a happy birthday. You could, this card would be great for congrats. It would be great for someone getting a new job, moving. I'm going to close ink pads because I've been known to drop things in ink pads. So let's put this in and then we'll be on our way. So you have to let me know how you're using your designer series paper, what you're doing with it, what's your favorite one. I'm very tempted, I think we are, depending on how it goes. I think I'm going to use the dinosaur paper in part 3 of this. Actually, I might use a variety paper because I'm going to show a couple. I think we're going to do 2 cards and we're going to talk about boxes. So there you go. So let's bring them all in. Did I lose any? Yeah. So here are some nice examples of cards using designer series. Oh, let's do it this way. It's so funny trying to get it all in the screen. Using designer series paper in different ways. So panels, leaving some blank space, and strips. So there you go. If you have questions, comments, requests, if you want to order, feel free to go to audremonk.stampin'up.net, and there's my host code, XRFPQYYJ. Use that, and I would really appreciate that. That helps me get supplies to use in classes. And sometimes, you know, I send you a little sweet something in the mail. If you do have questions, comments, requests, let me know. I will see you next time. Stay crafty and have a great night. Oh, and you know I can't reach the button. Hold on. Sorry, guys.